Greetings, good people, and welcome to Singing Dawn, a daily chant practice in the Benedictine Spirit with me. I'm Ellen, and I am so glad you have found your way here today. Today is day 78, Raise. So come on in, get yourself settled, and as you're just stretching yourself out, loosening up a little bit, I invite you to bear witness to the air, the breath moving into you, out of you, around you, and through you. Notice the breath. Bear witness to the physical sensations in your body, places that hurt, places where you feel blood flow, places that are tense. Bear witness to whatever emotions you notice currently flowing through you, to acknowledge them, welcome them in. And bear witness to the thoughts currently shaping your consciousness. Become aware of what you're thinking and allow those thoughts a place at the table of your being. So welcome yourself in all of your complexity and dynamism into this moment and this practice. Bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising. Day is a breaking in my soul. So today we enter week 12 of our practice. And as we do, we can look back and see the broad contours of our journey so far. We had an entrance, a beginning, 4 psalms, Canticle of the 3 Youths, 3 more psalms, a reading with responsory, a hymn with versicle, and now we have arrived at the Gospel Canticle. So today we launch into the land of the Song of Zachary, sometimes also known as the Canticle of Zechariah or the Benedictus, the first word of it in Latin. This text is the only text from the Gospels in all of Singing Dawn, as outlined by Benedict in his rule. And in the narrative of Luke's Gospel, this song is sung by Zachary, who was the father of John the Baptist, who would grow up to be the first to announce Jesus to the world as the Messiah. And John sang this song on the occasion of the ceremony in which John was given his name. Now, I've put the whole first chapter of Luke in the week's notes on our Google Drive. And if you have time and interest, check it out. I commend it to you. I invite you to go over there and to see how the song appears in context. It's pretty interesting. But to cut to the chase, this is the song of someone who, in the midst of his everyday life, feeling circumscribed by what he perceived as a hopeless failure, this guy had a vision, and he was terrified by having it. He doubted it, and he was rendered mute by his doubt until things unfolded just as his vision has imagined that they could and would. And then his life blossomed. And then he chose to act in accordance with the flow of the vision. And this song that we're about to sing was the first thing out of his mouth as his power of voicing returned. The text has certain characteristics which we'll touch on a little deeper in the days to come, but I'll just mention them here. A sense of the deep mystery of God and of who and how we are in and with God. A sense of community and history. A sense of dramatic dynamics in the process of personal and corporate liberation. A sense of confident hope and of the decision, the enacted decision to live in divine dawning. For now, I'd just like us to get acquainted with the text and the tune. So I'm going to share the screen at this point, and if you haven't already, go to the week's folder and you can download the canticle for yourself. So the first thing that you'll notice is that we return to a psalm tone, and this tone is called tonus peregrinus, or the wandering tone, because the reciting notes of the first and second half of the tone are different. In every other psalm tone, the reciting note is the same from first half to second half. And the tone goes like this. Yadam. Those first two notes are the incipit. And I'll just say that for the canticles, the gospel canticles, in order to give them a little more honor, it's customary to use that incipit by way of increased ornament, to use the incipit at the beginning of every line, not just the first line as we've done in the past, but every line. So, now the next thing that comes, it says tenor and flex. We're just using the tenor, which is the reciting note. We're not using the flex. Our text isn't laid out that way for us. So, da-da-dee, this is the first reciting note. Mi, di, and cadence. This is the second reciting note and final cadence. I'll do that again. This is the first reciting note, midi and cadence. This is the second reciting note, final cadence. Okay? Just like the other reciting tones, we're going to be moving off the reciting note on the bold underlined syllables. The syllables in parentheses are sung on the optional white notes in the tone. The final two notes of every other line, which is the end of the melodic formula, are slightly elongated, but they are not belabored. The momentum continues from the end of one line to the beginning of the next. You want to listen for the next phrase already gestating and generating momentum in the final notes of the previous phrase. Just to recall from our earlier practice, the big silence happens between the halves of each verse, and I've marked those places with the double lines. And from the end of one verse to the beginning of the next, there's a very short breath because it's only one person singing, but it's sense of connection. In each line, momentum gathers, crests, breaks, and dissipates. So you want to remember that wave motion. And once again, I have pointed this so the lines are on the long side. And at this point in our practice, I wanted to encourage us mentally and physically to stretch ourselves for the longer sense lines. So you want to remember it's just one wave from the beginning to end of every line of text. And then just to remember that at the doxology at the end, glory be to the Mother, we will stand, stretch up, and hail the divine, and then roll all the way down, surrendering, giving over to the divine as we sing the doxology. I'm going to sing just a couple of verses for you. Blessed are you, O Holy One, the God of Israel. You shepherd your people and set them free. You raised from David's house a child with power to save. Through the holy prophets you promised in ages past to save us from enemy, and so forth and so on. Just wanted to give you a little sense of it. So off we go. We are invited this week to raise our voices alongside Zachary, to sing in solidarity with those who felt limited, even broken by their circumstances, who had a vision, who were afraid and overwhelmed, who kept silent until the time was right, and then let loose with praise. So I invite you into that context of practice if that's meaningful and helpful for you. I'm going to light the candles and we will get going. So we will begin, as always, with our opening lines, and then go right into the Canticle of Zachary. Holy One, open my lips, and my mouth shall proclaim your praise. Glory be to the Mother, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as always before, so now and forever. Amen. Blessed are you, Holy One, the God of Israel. You shepherd your people and set them free. You raised from David's house a child with power to save. Through the holy prophets you promised in ages past to save us from enemy hands, from the grip of all who hate us. You favored our ancestors, recalling the sacred covenant, the pledge to our ancestor Abraham to free us from our enemies, so we might worship without fear and be holy and just all our days. And you, child, will be called prophet of the Most High. For you will come to prepare a pathway for the Holy One, by teaching the people salvation through forgiveness of their sin. Out of God's deepest mercy a dawn will come from on high. Light Breathe in and out long and deep as you rest and absorb and adapt to the presence of the chant in you now, gestating, shifting your being. You may wish to let go, even if you don't even know what it is you're letting go of. Just that decision to lay down what you no longer need, to lighten the load as you move forward. And as you're ready and as you wish, to offer up and out into the world in love the graces from your practice of the chant. Thank you so much for persevering into week 12 on the road of singing dawn. I am so glad to be traveling this path with you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Peace.